Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bom dia a todos. I'm Adam, the Deputy Director of Britcham Paraná, and it's great to be with you today for another fantastic Britcham webinar. And what a brilliant and pertinent topic we have today, focused on bilateral collaboration and opportunities in the innovation space. But first things first, let me begin by thanking Britcham supporting members whose brands were widely publicized on the opening slide of the webinar, and also to Luciano Moraes and Luiz Felipe Di Sessa, President and Vice President of the Technology and Innovation Committee, for organizing today's talk. And of course, to everyone in the audience tuning in today or tuning in going forward. Huge thanks as well to today's speakers with us today. Angela Stathi, co-founder of Brazil Tech Connect, Ricardo Vilella, head of AI and digital transformation projects at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change. The British Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Brazil, Britcham, has been operating in Brazil for almost 110 years, being the key forum of the UK-Brazil business and government community to increase trade, investment, services, and bilateral relationships. We operate nationally in Brazil with branches in Paraná, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and Minas Gerais. We bring together in the chamber major British investors in Brazil from the most diverse sectors of the economy, as well as Brazilian companies that engage in UK-Brazil relations. The Chamber operates through 13 thematic committees, including agribusiness, human capital and education, international trade and investments, defense and security, economy and finance, energy, infrastructure, legal tax, mining, health, risk and insurance, of course, technology and innovation, and also the Consultative Advocacy Commission on priority issues on the climate tax and regulatory agendas. And we've had an action-packed year so far with in-person events, webinars, lunch lectures, technical visits, seminars, meetups of CEOs with public authorities, and lots more. All the activities we carry out follow and reinforce Britcham's mission to promote bilateral business between Brazil and the United Kingdom, working to create prosperous business environments and societies, serving our members and contributing to the overall growth of trade, industry and investments. I would like to take this opportunity to invite everyone to visit Britcham's website, www.britcham.com.br, and participate in the Chamber's next events. Now, without much further ado, and for a kickoff, to present today's speakers, I will now pass over to Luciano Moraes, President of the Technology and Innovation Committee. Good morning, Luciano. The floor is yours. Thank you
Good
very
morning. Good morning. Thank you very much, Adam, for the opening remarks, and thanks to Luiz Felipe Di Sessa for the partnership in the committee, right? So the dynamics for the webinar today is going to be very simple, very similar to what have been done through all the live webinars we had. So it's been streamed live through Zoom and YouTube, right? We have the speaker's presentation followed by a Q&A session. And for the Q&A, the questions should be sent through the Q&A tool in the Zoom platform only, okay? And also, when you raise the questions, could you please mention your name and the company before sending the question, because it helps us to identify who is asking what, right? And as a reminder, we'll be running a curation process when looking into those questions to make sure that we group similar questions, right? But eventually, as there are some time constraints, we do apologize in advance if, or by any means, one of the questions may not be addressed or answered by the speaker, right? So talking about the speakers we have today. So Angela Stathi. Angela is the co-founder of the Brazil Tech Connect, an organization fostering collaboration and innovation between the Brazilian, UK, and European tech ecosystems. As a deep tech investment expert, she advised the European Commission's 10 billion European Innovation Council Fund, supporting the growth of deep tech in Europe. Angela is also chair of the Digital Boost, an AI-driven platform helping SMEs grow through digital upskilling and mentoring. She serves on the UK Financial Conduct Authority's Financial Services Consumer Panel, and her executive career includes global leadership roles at Schroders, BNP Paribas, Moody's, and Fitch. Angela has received the Woman of Excellence Award from the Women Economic Forum and an Achievement Award from Moody's. She holds an executive MBA from London Business School, the Financial Times Postgraduate Diploma in Board Governance, and various certifications in AI, emerging technology, sustainability, leadership, and innovation from the University of Oxford and Cambridge. And Ricardo Vilella. Ricardo is a senior tech executive with over 15 years of experience in government relations, public policy, and digital transformation in Brazil and across Latin America. He has led high-impact programs at Google, Meta, and the British Embassy, driven initiatives in emerging tech, AI, AR, VR, blockchain, cybersecurity, and startup ecosystems building. He has managed multi-million-dollar budgets and cultivated strategic partnerships with governments, international organizations, and civil society to deliver sustainable social impact to those initiatives. Currently, at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, he is responsible for the AI and digital transformation projects working with the Brazilian government departments. So I would like to pass the baton to Angela and Ricardo. Welcome, guys. The floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Luciano, Adam. Thank you very much, Britcham, for having us here today. It's really a great pleasure and a great honor to participate in this webinar. Good morning, everyone, and bom dia for those that are connecting from Brazil. So I'm Angela. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope you will have a very enjoyable presentation. Before we start, I would like to give you a flavor of who we are as Brazil Tech Connect, and I will invite Ricardo to share the slides if that's possible. Excellent. So we can say a few words about Brazil Tech Connect. Brazil Tech Connect is a dedicated network supporting really Brazilian and UK as well as European tech businesses that are very much looking to navigate the challenges of internationalization. And certainly there are a lot of networks out there, but there is not a structural network for which these corporations, scale-ups, as well as investors and partners can actually connect effectively and to help each other in order to successfully internationalize their business. So our vision as an organization is very much to build this dynamic community to enable these tech businesses across the ecosystems of Europe, UK, and as well Brazil to connect, innovate, and achieve a global impact. So if we can move a little bit straight to slide 8, please, Ricardo. Thank you. So just a little bit about what we do. So we, as I said, have a community of innovators, so startups as well as scale-ups and large corporations that are very much interested in innovative businesses in order for them to connect and co-create. So what we do is we put these organizations together as well as investors that are part of our network and institutional allies. And what we mean with institutional allies, we mean government institutions, it could be multilaterals like the European Commission, it could be associations like Britcham that we have today, but it could also be partners, organizations such as a legal firm, it could be an accountant, firm that can support the ecosystem to flourish. So this is who we support in terms of our community. So if we now move on to the next slide. So what do we offer as an organization? There are multiple things we offer, and it ranges from immersion activities, which means taking corporations into another country. So it could be, for example, taking European or UK institutions looking to internationalize in Latin America, using Brazil as their landing hub. Or it could be Latin American businesses, including Brazilian businesses, looking to get their business to the UK or to Europe. So our organization facilitates this. And we do that in many different ways with soft landing programs as well as with accelerator programs. As part of our services, we facilitate through our network investment matchmaking, which means if we do have certain investors that could be of an interest to an organization as they are doing their internationalization path, we facilitate the matching and we leave the institutions to connect and establish a very good relationship. Finally, the other things we do is events and networking, like today's webinar today. And this is an example of the type of opportunities we can offer through our services. And I will explain a little bit more later on what else examples of those services we can offer. And now on slide 10, we are a team of experienced innovators, founders, as well as individuals that have worked in multiple government organizations. So Iraklis himself, he is one of the co-founders, and he currently works at the Embassy of Brazil here in the UK. Myself, as mentioned prior to my starting of the presentation, I work with multiple organizations, including the European Commission, where I facilitate the growth of scale-up institutions. Ricardo, another co-founder who is also with us in the call today, he is the head of AI for Tony Blair's foundation. So really great individuals. And our advisory board ranges again from individuals that worked and are very familiar of both the ecosystems of Latin America and the UK. So we have Alina, Vanessa, Filippi, and Juliana. So a brilliant team with brilliant success stories. Our next slide just gives us an indication of what we have achieved so far. We have supported over 1,000 startup businesses and scale-ups through the efforts of our work and our experience within Brazil to Connect, and as well through our prior experiences. Together, we've managed to raise 40 million in funding, which is a significant amount for startups. And we have managed to facilitate through our Angel and VC network 200 plus and 300 plus events and investors connections. So it is a very varied services, but also the achievements speak on its own, how successful we've been so far. I think it's always nice to talk about services, but more importantly, to see the results. And the results are range from facilitating trade missions to helping institutions raise funds, as well as to enter into a different country. So as you can see from the slides, some really interesting case studies, and I'll pick some of them for which I've worked myself. Mifundo and Reiko has been two of the success stories of raising funds from the European Commission. So from the UK, I managed to support these two businesses, one for which is Estonian businesses to successfully raise money. And now these businesses are now looking to come to the UK. So it's all about network, and it's all about helping these networks be facilitated and very successfully land into different jurisdictions. Ricardo himself, he has done a number of support through his government work. Perhaps, Ricardo, would you like to share some of your case studies?
Sure, absolutely, Angela. Morning, everyone. The two examples at the bottom, digital barriers and dark trace, were the kind of support they provided when they were entering the Brazilian market. So in the case of digital barriers, they were mainly interested in defense and security projects from the government. So it was really key to do a bit of a research of what was the best way to reach onto those opportunities and which partners to work with. So we've managed to successfully connect them to an integrator, which was very well connected into those military opportunities. and the rest is story. With regard dark trades, Brazil was the first country they were entering in Latin America, so we were able to support them establishing the entity in Brazil, connecting to various opportunities in government as well as in the private sector.
So as you can see, very, very interesting cases, and I'm sure you will have a lot of questions towards these case studies, how we can help you as well successfully navigate your challenges in your organizations. But this is just an example of some of the case studies we had, and certainly we have much more to share afterwards. So how do we work with organizations? Brazil Tech Connect is very much keen to work with partners. Nobody can do this very hefty lifting work by its own. So we need partners, and we embed these partners at expertise inside our programs. And what we do is we very much boost the visibility of our partners to ensure that the partners have impactful collaborations. We recognize in particular that these collaborations demand a very specialized support. And that ranges from understanding of legal aspects as well as cultural aspects. So we very much invite in service providers that are both in Latin America and the UK and Europe to work with us and join our ecosystem. And what does the partners get? They get a very much access to a very dynamic network that we have built over the years, and they provide all the guidance that it is necessary to facilitate. So you have access to a wonderful network that can provide you services, but also can provide you networks and opportunities for your business. So if I may move as well to the next slide. The next slide talks about our benefits. So it ranges from benefits like visibility of your organization, showcasing your expertise, as well as hosting an event for which your name of your services and organization will be prominently exhibited. And finally, participation in trade missions, which are very important because trade missions gives you this on-the-ground opportunity for you to see what is needed in the on the companies, in the ground, on the organizations that you are there to support. So this is the benefits that our partners will get. Now, if I were to move on to the continuation of what you further can access is personalized introductions. You get access to events and sector-specific exclusive events. For example, if we are to do a fintech forum, if you are focused in fintech, we will invite you to be a speaker, and you will invite you to prominently exhibit your services and also facilitate the discussion. So this is some of their services, but I think the most important part of the presentation is to come next, which is all talking about our knowledge of both ecosystems, but also how we can support your organizations when it comes to expanding their businesses or making introductions in a different country. So before we do that, we have here an example of collaborators we've worked throughout the years. So we've split our collaborators in terms of European and Brazilian partners. And as you can see, there are a number of prominent names, both ranging from European Commission's Institute of Technology to Caldera in Brazil, Invest São Paulo, Tech Brazil Advocates. So a lot of prominent names, advogados. So very good institutions, and we hope to have more of those institutions collaborating, including the British Chamber of Commerce now, for which we started the collaboration with today's webinar. So without further ado, we will now talk about the two very important ecosystems, which is Brazil and the UK. And with that, I will hand over to my panelist, co-panelist, Ricardo.
Thanks, Angela. Hi again, everyone. So talking about these connections, obviously both ecosystems are vibrant, innovative, and full of opportunity, but understanding this ecosystem is key for spotting where the partnerships can add value. And why Brazil? So Brazil is a natural gateway to Latin America, as you all know. From here, companies can reach Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, all fast-growing markets. Over 215 million consumers and one of the world's highest internet and smartphone penetration rates. So as you know, Brazil is one of the largest market for all these big tech platforms. São Paulo alone has a GDP which is close to 500 billion US dollars, which is 1/4 of total Brazil's economy. And today, more than 360,000 tech companies operates here, which is almost half of all Brazilian startups that are based in São Paulo. So that's clearly define the scale, the digital maturity, and the opportunities of Brazil. So beyond its size, Brazil is also an engine for innovation. It ranks 5th position in the global fintech and the 23rd in the world's startup ecosystem. We've seen strong B2C unicorns emerged, as you can see, the likes of Nubank and so on. Over 70% of all venture capital in Latin America flows into Brazil, mostly concentrated in São Paulo. And large corporations actively collaborate with startups through open innovation programs, creating a mature, collaborative dynamics of the market. Talking a little bit about the Brazil and the global south, particularly highlighting some factors of this new geopolitical scenario in which we live in. In 2025, Brazil chairs the BRICS and will also host the Rio Summit, which will strengthen this collaboration for the global south with agenda covering food security, climate finance, infrastructure, tech, data diplomacy. Most of all, talking about digital sovereignty, the importance of having proper infrastructure installed in Brazil. And companies entering Brazil can position themselves at the intersection of policy innovation and sustainability, which is a key area for Brazil. One of the projects that I'd like to highlight in today's presentations is this initiative called ReData, which is the core incentives framework, which is an example of how policy is supporting the digital growth in Brazil, especially bring a new special tax regime for data centers, which will eliminate taxes from PIS, COFINS, API for IT equipment, and also removing import duties on specialized hardware that's not produced locally. This is a very important driver for Brazil's attracting investment on infrastructure. Brazil also is not acting alone. Is also important to highlight as part of this new wave of emerging innovation centers in the global south. But the scale and the market sophistication makes it stand as a true rising star in a global tech map, as you can see there, the cities in Brazil in this ranking, which is very recent. Talking a little bit about Sao Paulo, obviously is the powerhouse innovation in Latin America, ranked #1 in the startups and venture capital activity. This makes Sao Paulo very fertile ground for collaboration, funding, and scaling new ideas. The city also offers access to one of the most diverse consumer markets in the region, allowing startups to test, grow solutions across different industries and audiences. But despite that, São Paulo's maturity, scale, and diversity makes a truly unique launchpad for innovation in Latin America. But what we want to highlight is that apart from the usual suspects like São Paulo, we have other options such as this one, Rio. Rio is positioning itself as the AI city in Brazil, as some of you might have known. This is the flagship project for the Rio de Janeiro, which is said to be the Latin America Center for Data Centers amongst one of the top 10s in the globe, which is a very ambitious project. It is strategically located in the Olympic Park, where the Rio Olympics was held, connected to Porto Maravilha Innovation District, and the plan is for have 1 gigawatts of capacity by 2027, which is scaling threefold by 2032, which adds the extension of the Web Summit in Rio through 2030, and you have the region's most exciting digital hubs in the making. So that's very important to highlight. So Brazil clearly leads Latin America innovation and unicorn creation. São Paulo is the #1 tech city, followed by Mexico City and Buenos Aires. But Brazil's strength go beyond São Paulo. Cities like Belo Horizonte, Curitiba, now amongst the top rising stars in Latin America, showing how innovation is spreading nationwide. Together, these hubs makes Brazil's region most dynamic and fast-growing startup ecosystem across Latin America. Other key tech hubs in Brazil we would like to draw your attention to is that beyond Rio and Sao Paulo, Brazil is very decentralized, as you can see. Curitiba has been recognized for its sustainable innovation-led urban growth model, which is a best practice for cities around the world. Florianopolis hosts Akachi, which is one of the country's most productive tech clusters, with billions in revenue and tens of thousands of jobs. Porto Alegre, which is another important hotspot, home of Tecnopuc Instituto Caldeira, where corporates and startups co-create innovation programs. In the Northeast, we have Recife, which is famous for its Porto Digital. It's a reference in cybersecurity, GovTech, with a strong university industry collaboration model. But we would like to highlight Piauí, because it's a state that's investing heavily in digital infrastructure through PPPs, like the project Piauí Conectado and ZPI Parnaíba, which brings innovation to regions beyond the Brazil core central regions. And also the International Symposium of Technological Innovation in Teresina, which is amongst one of the largest events in the global scenario for telecommunications. Talking about Brasilia, is also emerging as a very innovative hub, because it's very close to the power of the federal government here in Brasilia. Policy-driven innovation district like the Biotic and the Center of recently launched Artificial Intelligence Center, which is a 1 million square meter hub for GovTech and cybersecurity. And finally, Goiás, which is the state government is investing in innovation labs, energy transition initiative through programs like Centelha, which is a startup acceleration project. And through these hubs, this shows how Brazil's innovation map is expanding from coast to the countryside, creating a truly national tech ecosystem. And now I'll hand over back to Angela for talking a little bit about the UK tech ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. As you can see, very impressive Brazil, and that's the reason we are working with this impressive market, and we hope that you can see it yourselves for those that are outside Brazil and are very keen to go to Brazil to see the magnitude of technology awareness and innovation that is happening in this country. So I encourage you to connect with us and learn more about this beautiful country that we come from. So for those that are outside now, the UK, and are very keen to learn about how the UK maps into the innovation ecosystem, we're here to tell you a little bit more about it. So a little bit about the UK. So the UK sector has reached a market capitalization of 1.2 trillion. It is an incredible amount, which means that positions the UK as the Europeans' #1 tech ecosystem. It is quite impressive. And what is even more impressive, it houses the majority of the VCs, so all the investors that are across Europe, the majority of them are situated here in the UK. Another important statistic I would like to share is the number of unicorns that have flourished in this country. And that has to say it is thanks to the easiness to do business, the ability to very quickly set up your business in the UK, but also reach to investors. So we had 163 unicorns that have been produced in the UK. For each at the moment, we have 48 active unicorns. So in the last couple of years, we have noticed that the VC landscape in the UK has raised 66 funds. And these 66 funds in 2024 alone has actually been worth 10.9 billion. So this is, just to give you a perspective, this is larger to what you would somebody achieve within the France and Germany combination together. So what sectors now the UK really feels to be the best ones? It's certainly the fintech, the health tech sectors, but as well as SaaS businesses are the ones that flourish the most in the UK. So the UK tech sector, as I mentioned, has a combined market valuation of 1.2 trillion. And that is the data, the most recent data we collected in the first part of 2025. So this is very much, as we mentioned, meant position it to the number one tech ecosystem in Europe. And while certainly the European landscape has been growing, their growth has only been at 12.5%. So the growth is quite remarkable. Now, the UK certainly has many interesting cities for you to explore, and London accounts the majority of these tech sectors landing and flourishing. So London is one of the biggest hub, but as you can see on this map, we have East Midlands, Scotland, and as well the Northeast being areas for which startups have flourished and they have been able to successfully grow and achieve multi-million pounds deals. So I will encourage you to not only look at London, but also the other territories. And we will be very delighted to facilitate any introductions in this space. So now if we were to move on to more intel here, as you can see, I quite like numbers. And I like to drill down on these numbers. And you will see that from the 170 unicorn companies that are headquartered in the UK, 148 of these companies were established in the UK. Now, an interesting fact is that 22 of those were actually founded overseas, and they later decided to come to the UK. So it proves that the UK has been a successful story to actually interest these businesses. And I will name some of those startups that scale-up businesses that have come and flourished. Out of this 22, we have companies like Rapids, Wise, Flow, just to name the few. So unicorns is an important part of the UK ecosystem. And now if we were to drill down on the types of unicorns we have in the UK, the majority of those are actually within the fintech and the SaaS space. And most of them, as we said, they are headquartered in London because London certainly is the biggest financial center within the UK. There are other growing markets and growing sectors, but certainly health, fintech, and SaaS businesses are the ones that we've observed being the growing trend. And now, if we were to look at a drill down and a comparison of UK and the other fellow European countries, you will see that the UK has by far the strongest in terms of VC attraction. So you see that UK has attracted 14.2 billion for the last few years, and it is a positive change of 8%. And within the UK landscape, 10.8 billion has been raised from London startups. So from this number that is highlighted here, 10.8 are number that has been raised from startups just in London. So almost double of this amount has been raised of startups in Paris, and account 68 of all the UK VC investments. It is also very interesting to see in our following slide that London is not the only little city considered with the UK map. As we can see, we have also other cities such as Cambridge being highlighted, Oxford, and also London. So these are the cities that the companies have most successfully raised money. And you can see on this chart at different stages how successful all these companies have been being located in the UK territory. So it's very interesting to see how we compare with our neighboring countries. Now, our next slide talks about the London, but also Cambridge and Oxfordshire. So London, number one city in Europe, whereas Cambridge comes seventh place, and Oxfordshire in the eighth place. So not bad, and I must say quite impressive comparing to other countries that have very big ecosystems equally. So certainly no ecosystem can survive alone, and we very much encourage this collaboration. And through Brazil Tech Connect and our connectivity with European countries, anyone who is looking to land and have a launchpad from the UK, we will be able to facilitate also this connectivity for you. So here is a quote from Janet Coyle from London and Partners, telling us the story as to why London is the best place to attract technology businesses as well as investments. So why is that? Because they have a very good talent pool. There is a lot of investors. There is a lot of intelligence and innovation that gets to be born and bred in this city. So London has been the grounds from AI, life science, and innovations in fintech, creative, and edtech. So this is just to give you an idea from a prominent leader in the London ecosystem and how she views the market herself. Few more information, and this information is really on funding now. As you can see from this slide, deep tech startups raised the most rounds at early stage. And also it's interesting to see that AI startups raised the biggest growth stage rounds. So you have this comparison. So deep tech and AI is the new wave for which a lot of businesses are investing, from large corporates to as well startups. But it's taking longer for funding to happen. So if we were to compare ourselves over the years, for the 2019, it has actually taken a company that has started 9.6 years to clearly reach a Series A. And if I were to take these numbers and extrapolate these numbers and look and compare it across Europe, this is a very good indication of how the market and the geopolitics actually makes it quite difficult to invest in businesses, but also it's quite fragmented, the market in Europe, hence the difficulty to raise money. But that saying, as we mentioned, the UK is the most successful market to raise money. So if you are to come to Europe, the UK is certainly the best place to start. Few more slides on my side. I just want to show you in percentage terms the growth, the investment growth on those different markets. And we talked about robotics being the most growing market. But as you can see, the least interesting markets at the moment from the period of the last 4 years has been telecoms and less in the fashion business as well. So we have seen a decline, but this decline obviously changes over different cycles. So at the moment, the trend is mainly within the robotics space. And then in the next slide, we have the top sectors by VC investment. So if you are a business in Europe, if you are a business in Latam, in Brazil, thinking, where should I put my money in? Where should I start building a business in? Well, certainly you can see fintech has raised the most in 2024, which is 14% more than companies like health tech and enterprise software. So it's an interesting market, and with innovation in AI, with digital assets, I can certainly see a much larger increase and pool of assets happening in this sector. So now for those that are curious to know who are those investors putting all this money in these companies, well, here is a list of prominent investors for which some of those investors we have very good connectivity here in the UK. And the investors ranges from buckets from early stage as well, late stage investors. So I will encourage you, if you are curious and very much interested in getting yourself into the UK to connect with these investors, to reach out to us, and we will make the right introductions to the investors that are relevant to the stage of your business. Now, the UK has seen the most exits over the years, but the UK tech companies now in 2024, they did not exit in the typical exiting of IPO that we have seen in other years. Well, certainly acquisition has always been the trend, and more apparently has happened this year. So I'm just going to give you some examples of those trade acquisitions that happened, the most recent ones here in the UK and successful ones. So Deliveroo was one of them. So it's a food delivery company that got acquired by DoorDash by 2.8 billion in May 2025. We also had the biotech business, Dolmatics, who got acquired by Siemens for 5.1 billion in April 2025. And one very interesting IPO, Raspberry Pi, which is a hardware business, that one got IPO in the London Stock Exchange, raising 200 million. So you can see the variety of the ranges of money, of exits, and also the different types of exits that can happen. But you can see the flavor, the appetite of the last couple of years has certainly been trade deals as opposed to IPOs. Now I would like to share one of the services for which is immersion services. In November, so next month, our organization Brazil Tech Connect, in collaboration with our fantastic partners across Europe, the UK, and as well Brazil, we are bringing a delegation from the UK to Brazil. And this period will be between the 24th to the 28th of November. And the idea is to explore the market of São Paulo and as well Porto Alegre. So for companies, individuals, organizations, investors that are in this call, as well as partners that will be interested in reaching out to us, we will welcome this opportunity to share more details, but as well feel free to reach out to Britcham to connect us with the relevant people that are of interest in this mission. So for those who enjoyed the talk today and would like to learn more, it is the time for you to become a partner, and you're curious how to do and go about it. So as we mentioned in the first few slides, this is the opportunity to gain visibility in the big network that we have. This is the opportunity for you to connect and network, but also the opportunity for you to enable businesses to be successful. So should you be interested in getting this opportunity, feel free to reach out to us and we'll facilitate this opportunity. Last but not least, we have some details as how to connect with us, our website. So we leave a little bit the QR codes for you uh, to scan the QR codes, as well as our LinkedIn, which is on the right-hand side. So feel free to link with us and learn more about us. So our last slide has just a few information about who presented today. It was Ricardo and myself. So our contact details are there, and we also have our WhatsApp. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Ricardo, for such an excellent presentation and for the overview of the collaboration between Brazil and the UK tech ecosystem. Really engaging. And so let's move now to our Q&A session. I'll start with some of the questions we have already received, and then bring in others from the audience as we go, okay? So the first one here is, how can Brazilian companies best identify and connect with local partners, clients, or investors in the UK? I'm sorry, you're on mute. Yeah, thank you.
Certainly, we will be delighted to facilitate that. So the first step is reach out to us. And so how do we do it? We assess the maturity of the business. If they are looking to internationalize, they need to be at a certain stage. We need to understand what are their needs? Do they have a strategy? In which domains they would like to expand their businesses? Is internationalization the right point for them? So we do first this analysis. That's the first step. The second step, once we have done this analysis, is to offer them the services of our partners. So if it is, for example, to open their business in the UK, we have a number of partners that we can introduce them, that being legal or accounting services. But very happy to take on this question separately. I imagine this individual is curious to know how to move things forward, but we can do that on a one-to-one basis. Thank you.
That's great. I have another one here from Dr. Vania Martins. How healthcare companies from Brazilians settled in UK can help.
Ricardo, I don't know if you heard the question. Don't know if you would like to step into this question.
Sure, absolutely. So I think one of the opportunities that we have is to have this Brazilian company looking to establish a partnership in London or elsewhere. We help them the soft landing support, legal setup, and introduction to venture funds. Also, we've seen service providers like law firms, recruiters, in case you need some, labor over there. Find clients through the hub because we created those curated introductions. And the beauty of this model is not just the networking, is the structured matchmaking that leads to the real business outcome when you're setting up over there. Please feel free to compliment, Angela.
Thank you.
I think you've covered it so nicely, Ricardo, that I have nothing further to add. But if the individual has a follow-up question, we're very happy to answer it.
We have another question here from Marina Almeida from the bakery. She's asking us if we're gonna share the slides, and yes, Marina, Ricardo just confirmed we can share the slides after the session. Okay. Another question that we have, you mentioned that expanding internationally can be complex. So from your experience, what would be the biggest challenge companies usually face when trying to enter a new market, such as the UK? And I mean, the second part is how does Brazil Tech Connect help overcome it? I think you have already addressed this, but if you can reinforce it, would be great.
Yes, very good question. Yeah, so internationalization, it's a difficult task, and the mistakes that happened most times, and the challenges that companies face, is that they come to us or they decide to internationalize without having looked at their product, the actual people they have, or actually the culture and the services needed from a customer point of view where they are going to establish themselves. So these are the major challenges that, and I'm saying that from experience because I do that for a living as well with the European Commission, and it is very interesting. Sometimes large and small businesses, how they view internationalization like a piece of cake, which certainly it isn't, because you really need to be very thorough. And in certain instances, in the UK, let's take the UK, if you don't know the culture, doing business in the UK is very different than doing business in Brazil or in Latin America. An example of it is, for which I got experienced recently, is exchanging of cards does not exist in Latin America. It happens everything with WhatsApp. If now a business person comes in the UK and starts connecting with investors or with partners, facilitators, collaborators, and start asking for WhatsApp number, it's a different story, because here the connection happens through LinkedIn. You need to know what you will offer before you meet with them. It's very structured, it's not last minute. So the culture intricacies, it's very important to understand before coming and doing a business. So I would recommend that individuals do their business before, do their homework actually before they come. And we certainly will be very happy to speak with those that are interested and help them understand and navigate these challenges more efficiently.
And Angela, if I may just complement a little bit, talking about it's really important to help the navigation of these unknowns, like regulation, taxation, and as you said, the cultural nuance of doing business. So many startups that we've seen going to the UK, into Europe, they underestimate how different this operational landscape can be, right? So Brazil Tech Connect can remove that friction. We provide this structured program from legal to immigration support, so the companies don't waste time and resources finding out that alone, right? So basically, we remove this friction, making the transition smoother, faster, and less risky.
Very nicely said, Ricardo.
Right. And I think the next question is kind of related to what Ricardo said. I mean, is how can Brazilian startups best position themselves to attract UK venture capital or corporate investment? So I think organizing the house before trying to find some investors will be a good thing, and I think the hub may assist in this part, right?
Exactly. I can start, and then Ricardo can complement if I may. So the amounts raised that we saw from the slides are a bit larger than the amounts that typically would be raised in Latin America. And also it has to do with the currency, which is very different, the value of the currency. So starting from that and the ask and the positioning of the product should be very different, because the investors here are perhaps more mature, and they are really looking. So if you are trying to raise a small amount for a company that is worth much more, you're basically undervaluing yourself. So what you said, Luis, of doing your homework and putting things in order, it's clearly very important. But Ricardo, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No, it was brilliantly put, so nothing to add.
And another one here, do you see, or how do you see collaboration between UK and Brazilian tech ecosystems evolving beyond trade? And I mean, for instance, we can think of like R&D or maybe innovation programs. Can this kind of flow also happen in your view?
Yes, if I can take this one first,
Yes.
Angela, and you'll go ahead after me. So on AI, as you all know, this is the trend of the moment, is not going anywhere anytime soon. And there is quite a strong collaboration around AI safety and AI governance, because there's quite a lot of talks around how these models are trained with foreign language, with the foreign context, and also how they're being applied in Brazil. So the UK is very strong in this field, making sure that all of these tools that using AI algorithms are fit for purpose. And on the policy side around governance and safety, there's quite a lot of integration happening between Brazilian and UK organizations, and that leads to commercial opportunities.
Great. We have another one here from Cristo Miller from MBE Consulting. You mentioned a lot of information about the unicorns and VC investment amounts. How good are the investment and opportunities for smaller UK business that want to expand internationally to Brazil? Are there any statistics on the percentage of SME organizations that successfully expand?
I think on one of our slides we had I think Wise and Revolut being one of the businesses that have been supported within our network. I don't know, Ricardo, being in Brazil, if you want to add any of the information on the local market.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the VCs, the large VCs here in Brazil, like Bolsa Nova, Aqua, Crescera, Monasheed, Maya, they're also backing some of these businesses, and they constantly looking for opportunities. So we advise, companies to really stay tuned to those opportunities, because these are the ones that not only give you access to, significant funding, but also the visibility that's required for your startup to shoot up to the moon.
But I think also what the individual asked is if there is, are they interested? So the interest is there, and if they are willing to have this type of discussions, we could facilitate these discussions, and the appetite is there, as Ricardo said. So if this is what they need, we will be very happy to talk about.
That's great. I think we have a last one here. You talked about partnerships being central to the hub. Could you give us an example of the kind of collaborations or business connections that can actually happen through Brazil Tech Connect? I think you have already addressed, but it will be good to have some more examples.
Yes. So I don't know, Ricardo, you showed the slides early on to the group, but we had this slide about our partners, and I will bring it on my side. So we have a number of partners, and these partners range from across LATAM to Europe and the UK. So examples of partnership can be, for example, concrete example, a company in Brazil, a holding company that is very keen to come to Europe. They decide to interact with us, and it's an actual real example. They decide to interact with us, and they ask us, how should we start? Where should we start? And partnerships, we basically make the right introductions with the legal firms, the accountancy firms, regulators that they need to make themselves available. I think, Ricardo, you're trying to share the screen, but for some reason is not showing.
Oops, sorry for that.
I think it's great. Well, I think we have no further questions here. I definitely could make a few more, but I think we have to finish on time. So I appreciate Angela and Ricardo once again. Adam, I think you want to give us like a final word here.
Sure, guys. Well, first things first, that was excellent. Great stuff. I think we could carry on all day with the questions. Such interesting topic. I think obviously technology and the broader innovation ecosystem is one of the key areas to strengthen bilateral cooperation, UK Brazil going forward. But that being said, mindful of the time, to start wrapping up, I will pass back on to our esteemed speakers for their closing thoughts. So Angela, Ricardo, if you would like just for a quick roundup, helicopter view, 1 minute final word, the floor is yours.
Opportunities are there and they are ready to be grabbed. So we are here to help you navigate these challenges of internationalization. So please feel free to reach out. Don't be afraid. We are here to help you. So thank you very much, Britcham, for inviting us today. And we hope this is the beginning of a very long-term collaboration with you.
And from me, I think I'd like to summarize the opportunity here for Brazil Tech Connect in threefold. Like the first one being visibility, your brand featuring front of hundreds of startups and other VCs expanding internationally. Secondly, direct access. We can provide these curated one-to-one introductions, company that really needs your expertise. And third one, influence. You're part of this platform shaping how these ecosystems connect across the borders. So it's not just about exposure, it's about building meaningful business relationships. Thanks for the opportunity, folks.
Much obliged, guys. It was a real pleasure having you with us. In the name of Britcham, I thank again our speakers, Britcham colleagues, Luiz and Luciano, for being with us again today. And of course, last but not least, the audience for their presence. We do hope it's been an interesting and insightful event for everyone. I once again invite everyone to subscribe to Britcham's YouTube channel, share the link to the recording of this webinar, and again flag that Britcham's upcoming events are available on the website www.britcham.com.br. Do check it out. And lastly, I wish everyone a great rest of the day and week ahead. Thank you all.